Hello everyone, this is Mike. Welcome to my channel, Mike the Tech Savvy. This is the full video review of the Samsung Galaxy S21 that I have used for the past few days. I've already made an unboxing video and you can find the link to that one in the video description below. I also had a first look, but today I'm gonna give you a deeper insight on what the device felt like. I'll start off with the most obvious thing, the design. We have a pretty typical for Samsung aluminum frame. For the first time, a plastic back, this being the vanilla Galaxy S21. But as a pro, at least, I can tell you that I like this new color combination that Samsung offers. I really think it's a very bold color combination and different than the usual black that goes with the standard flagships. Of course, you have the usual sensors, you have the front camera, earpiece here, very slim, and you can definitely see that the borders are very slim. On the back we have 3 camera sensors with an LED flash. On the right side we do have the power button and the volume rocker, very nicely integrated with this aluminum frame. On the top we have a couple of microphones, and for the first time on the bottom we have the SIM ejector tool here. Until now it was on the top. USB Type-C ports, microphone, speaker, and nothing on the left side. It feels good in hand. I can tell you straight off the bat that it feels very similar to what the S20 felt like. As with the most recent Samsung flagships, you do get an IP68 dust and water resistance rating, so you can submerge it up to 30 minutes in 1.5 meters of fresh water. The display is again pretty similar to what we had last year, the only difference being that this time it's only 1080p in resolution, so basically we have a downgrade. Again, you have 120 Hz, and now it's an adaptive 120 Hz. It's not always 120, just like it was with the S20. HDR10+, it's a very bright display, I can tell you this straight off the bat. It's definitely very legible in bright sunlight. It is probably one of the most accurate displays. Of course not in vivid mode, but in natural mode it definitely becomes very accurate as far as colors go. I haven't tested this with specialty tools, but Samsung has always been a benchmark in this category for the past couple of years. You can already see that the aspect ratio is 20:9, just like it was with the S20. You do have the edge panels that Samsung has used since the Edge models, and also the always-on display that can be configured to show for a few seconds always. You can choose the screen orientation, music information, so you can choose the content, you can choose the clock style, colors. It's pretty configurable, but it definitely drains the battery faster, so I would suggest you to keep it turned off. As far as the chipset goes, and this is a pretty interesting story, you do have the new Exynos-2100 based on a 5nm architecture. It's an octa-core processor and you can see the configuration right here. I'm not really a fan of these artificial benchmarks, but I wanted to check it out for the S21 given that there is so much discussion in the Snapdragon versus Exynos department. The results are really interesting. Check out the first results that I got. 600 for single core and 3000 for multi-core. And if you go into single core, you can see that even the S20 Plus was faster than this. And the reason for this very low score is this toggle right here, enhanced processing. So you now have a toggle that will basically allow the phone to reach its full potential. Otherwise it will, I'm not really sure if it's underclocking itself or if it's just keeping the temperatures down. I'm not sure how it does it, but it's definitely much faster with this turned on. It also uses more battery. Check out the score with the enhanced processing turned on. It's almost double for single core and not a very significant difference for multi-core. I was really surprised that in single core you can definitely see that the S10 that I mostly use as a second phone is somewhere in the middle. So even though this is a 2-year-old device, it basically can be faster than a bog standard S21, quite surprising. Of course, not in the multi-core, but in the single-core score. Now that I've discussed the CPU, you can also see it in CPU-Z here, some more details. I will talk about the RAM. You do have 8 GB of RAM, again, pretty similar to the S20. 128 GB of internal storage, UFS 3.1. I believe there's also a 256 GB version. I didn't get that one. For me, 128 is more than enough. You can see the model number. I'm based in Europe, so this is the model number that I get. Something really surprising is the fact that the phone is made in Korea. And this is really surprising and kind of counterintuitive at the same time, if you ask me. I mean, on one hand, they save costs by removing the charger, by adding a plastic back to this phone, by reducing the screen resolution and so forth. And on the other hand, as opposed to my S10 here, which is made in Vietnam, and the S9 and the S8 before it, and I guess I haven't seen a Samsung phone made in Korea for a long time. So they make it in Korea, which probably brings higher manufacturing costs, but at the same time they cut a lot of things from the overall package, so basically from what you actually get. I'm not really sure if this should count as an increase in quality. It may be the case, it may not be the case. You can definitely see the manufacturing date as well. So I guess they started manufacturing them pretty late, given that they already launched it in mid-Jan. Of course, you have the Knox warranty trigger, and if you would root this device, a video which will come really soon on this channel, you will definitely lose the warranty, that's for sure, and this has been the case for Samsung devices for years now. As far as the operating system goes, you can see that we have Android 11 with the January security patch level. The device recently updated, so it received an update which improved the camera, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't really detected any changes, probably some minor stuff. And now that we reached this point, let's talk camera. You have a very similar configuration to last year's S20. 3 sensors on the back, a wide 12 megapixel sensor with a f1.8 aperture and dual pixel autofocus, and of course OIS, an ultra wide angle, again with 12 megapixels and f2.2, which features the super steady video, that GoPro-like stabilization, and the telephoto lens 64 megapixels f2.0 with OIS and face detection autofocus, which allows you to have a 3x hybrid zoom. So basically it's just a crop from the center. It's not really a telephoto lens per se. As far as the front camera goes, you do have a 10 megapixel sensor f2.2, nothing special. It was the same last year in the S20. The video options are listed here on top. 8K 24, 4K 60 frames per second, Full HD, Auto or 60/30 or 720p. You do have Super Steady, which switches automatically to the telephoto, and it works quite fine. It did work just as fine on the S20 if you ask me. You do have on all phones such as this one the high efficiency format, which definitely saves a lot of space. You can also film in HDR10 plus, but not with Super Steady. There you go. And this optimizes some parameters, as you can see right here. I wasn't that impressed with the cameras. They are, at least for the S21 vanilla, very similar, if not identical, to what we had on the S20. As far as the battery goes, below the hood we have a 4000 mAh battery. Again, very similar to what we had last year. I can honestly tell you that the battery life is quite the same, maybe slightly longer on the S21. Fast charging 25 watt, fast wireless charging 15 watts, and reverse wireless charging, I guess it tops out at around 4 or 5 watts. You do have a fingerprint reader under the display, ultrasonic, which is still not on par with the regular fingerprint scanners that we had in the past. NFC, FM radio is not present on this Exynos-based S21. You do have 5G, but unfortunately it's not really implemented on a large scale, so it doesn't really interest me that much at this point because the coverage is still being extended as we speak. Overall, I would call this device a very good daily driver if you're used to the One UI interface. This is the 3.1 version. It's fairly fluid. This display really does wonders, and it was the same case with the S20. It's incredibly responsive. I know I cannot really show you on video, but believe me when I tell you that it's really impressive. It's a pretty good overall daily driver, but if I would have to pick a Samsung flagship to be my daily driver right now, and if I would take the S10 out of the question, I would probably go with the S20. The package is more or less the same. You get a higher resolution display, you get the same cameras. I believe the software updates will be slower on that one, but it received Android 11 as well, so as of now they are more or less on par. The price is definitely lower, probably with around 20%, maybe even more than this one. And more or less it's the same package, so if I were to choose a new Samsung device right now, I would probably go with the S20. That is, if I would like a compact-ish device. I cannot really believe that we're talking about the S20 as a compact device, so we're considering this a compact device. A compact device for me is something like the iPhone 12 mini. That is small and what a compact device should be. Unfortunately, Samsung didn't bring a competitor for it. I'm really looking forward to see if Samsung will respond to Apple and if they will release something that would compete straight with the iPhone 12 mini. I would definitely want a device like that one, and I will definitely use it as a daily driver. Again, if I would have to summarize, I would say that it's a very high quality device. You do have all the top features of 2021 with some shortcomings, such as the lack of the power brick. Again, with the S20, you get a power brick in the box and you still get it much cheaper than this one. It's a fairly nice package. I would say that if you're familiar with the One UI interface, it's definitely a phone that you can buy. The battery life is decent enough, probably a little bit better than the last year's S20. Cameras are pretty decent. You definitely get the three important sensors that you want: ultra wide, wide, and telephoto. Given its high price tag, there are alternatives around, and I just told you of one. You be the judge, you decide for yourselves. This was my review of the Samsung Galaxy S21 5G. More videos will definitely come on this device, including the routing and maybe some comparison videos. If you like this video, please press the thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more similar videos in the future, also press the subscribe button, which will be displayed right here in the bottom left part. You can check out my previous unboxing video in the video description, where you'll also find the links to my Facebook and Patreon accounts. Thank you so much once again. This was Mike the Tech Savvy. Wish you a great day. Stay safe, guys. Bye.